Only Murders in the Building is back this week with the 8th episode of Season 5, and titled Cuckoo Chicks. This episode title had a couple of different meanings behind it. Not only did it connect to the bird whistle, which we saw activated a hidden camera when it quite literally cuckooed around the courtyard, but it also connected to the ladies' night that was taking place in the basement of the Arconia and the fact that Camilla was a bit cuckoo crazy. With an ending that connected back to a theory that I shared a couple of episodes back, which was all about Randall potentially being involved. Let's dive into this week's episode and break down all that there was to take away from it. Here is Only Murders in the Building Season 5 Episode 8 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The Ending Explained. When it came to the ending of this episode, we saw that the big reveal was that there was a hidden camera that was in the courtyard of the Arconia that Bash Steed wasn't in control of. This is because Vince and Lester had set it up so that it would be triggered by birdsong and also if birds were passing through, as they were both avid bird watchers. When Renee was reminiscing over her time with Lester and looked in Mabel's box of clues, she found his bird whistle, which she blew out of the window, and it triggered the camera on Vince's app. This then reminded him that there was another camera that the group could look at which would have unedited footage of Lester's murder. Unfortunately for them, the birds weren't singing when Lester was killed, so it was unable to capture the person that killed him. But what it did show was the murder weapon, which was Lester's valuable elevator crank, which reminded him of the time when he was younger and when the city was different. And it also showed us that Randall the doorman held onto the murder weapon and concealed it. It was found in Nicky's office, so it showed that Randall took it there to somebody who made the decision to keep it there. It also showed that Randall was fully aware of the casino that was operating underground and that he saw Lester's body. We've only ever seen Randall with gloves on his hands, and for the entirety of the series it's had me wondering if it was in fact his finger that was taken by the cleaver. With him finding the murder weapon after laying eyes on Lester's dead body, and instead of calling the authorities or anything like that, instead just leaving Lester lying there, I feel like he could well have brought the weapon to Camilla, hence why she said "stupid doorman" when she was speaking with Loretta, because even if she had nothing to do with Lester's murder, the murder weapon being in her possession could be what implicated her, and she knew would land her in trouble when she was already trying to do one dodgy thing in opening up a casino in the heart of New York City. The next episode is all focused through the perspective of Lester the robot, and I think we're going to be seeing some conversations that are supposed to be private being brought to life through the hidden camera, and I imagine we'll most likely see the likes of Randall acting suspicious too. Do I think Randall committed the murder? No, I don't, but I think it could be his finger that was taken because they might have viewed him as being foolish in bringing the murder weapon there. Camilla's involvement and suspect Sofia Caccimelio. It turns out Camilla's involvement with Nick Caccimelio was far larger than we thought, with the fact that she was romantically involved with him and she cared for him deeply, even wanting to expand his casino business with him. However, Nicky was a loyal man and wasn't prepared to have his head turned. It was only after he found out that Sofia was having an affair with somebody that he was prepared to betray her and her family business, which was the casino, and expand on it with Camilla. We didn't find out who Sofia was having an affair with, but we saw that Nick wasn't in the best state when he saw Camilla for the last time. This had me looking back at a previous theory where I said that Sofia could have been the killer of Nicky. Sofia was unhappy with her life and her relationship. She was cheating on Nick, and he was also planning on taking her business away from her. Essentially, Sofia wasn't living in a relationship that she wanted to be in, and she was on the cusp of losing everything. So by her getting her husband out of the picture, it would have quite literally improved her life greatly, as she'd have held onto the business and also would have been able to have been with the person that she was having an affair with. We've seen her acting suspicious on odd occasions, and I think Sofia could well be responsible for the death of her husband. I think there are potentially two killers here, one for Nick and one for Lester. When it comes to who Sofia Caccimelio was having an affair with, when looking at all of the characters in the show that we've been introduced to, the most obvious answer is Bash Steed. Bash is around a similar age. We haven't seen him with a partner, and it was said that he was involved with the police force as he was the biggest donator to the police department. So that would have allowed him to have got those officers to pick up the body at the time and place that they were told to do so. And with him also mentioning that he was interested in the likes of Cryo in episode 7 and him having this freezing type chamber in his home, it makes me wonder if Nick was kept there for a week before the murder of Lester took place. It's just one theory for now, but I do think that right now Bash is somebody who we should be suspicious of. With Camilla getting that final apartment in the Arconia, it gave her 51% of the apartments, which meant that she now had permission to transform the building into a casino. So it seems like the Arconia is going to be undergoing some changes before the finale. There was a line that Renee said to Mabel which really stood out to me, which was, "Don't focus on being in control, because nobody is. Not the wife of the doorman that died, nor the richest person ever." This to me is something that feels connected to Camilla. She currently thinks that she's in control with the acquisition of the apartments and things may be starting to go her way, but it feels like it's all going to go very wrong for her soon. My review of the episode. I thought this episode was a pretty good one. I kinda like the fact that there was some small reveals and some clues that were being dropped. It's felt like this season has been pretty slow with developing the story forward, but in this episode, it didn't stick to that theme. It gave us some real thinking points, such as the affair that Sofia was participating in, how it impacted Nicky. We saw the murder weapon being revealed, and we also saw that Randall could be involved. When it came to the performances in this episode, Charles and Oliver took a major backseat, which did surprise me. Personally, I thought their story was a bit forgettable and pointless, with most of it taking place inside of therapy. But if I am being honest, I didn't mind that. I've found Charles to be a really annoying character this season, and he's just been a bit of a goofball, which feels quite out of character for him. He's just been saying things for the sake of it and coming across stupid, and I don't think he's been handled the best this season. I thought his arc would be focused on feeling forgotten or left behind based on the first couple of episodes, but it really did go in a completely different direction, and one that I wasn't really a fan of, so I didn't mind a bit less Charles time when watching this episode. The real winner of this episode, though, was Meryl Streep. We got to see her range when playing Loretta, and her character wasn't only humorous as per usual, but she was integral to the plot when it came to getting most of the information out of the likes of Camilla. Mabel probably suffered a bit of the same treatment as Charles and Oliver in this episode, as her story was all about her basically wanting to go on a date with Jay Flug, the murder suspect, which does confuse me slightly. Mabel is probably the character that has her head screwed on the most when it comes to the podcast that they do and the case that they're operating. So I did find it a bit strange that she was wanting to get romantically entangled with somebody that could potentially be involved and still hasn't properly answered why he's missing a finger. The penultimate episode is next week, and to be honest, I'd say that this has probably been a season of Only Murders in the Building to forget about. I just don't think the case has been that engaging, and there's almost been a bit too much going on the side that it's compromised the main story. Season 3 will always be my favourite season of the show, and this one falls far short of that. It's almost like the creativity level just isn't quite there. The best episode for me in this season was episode 2 when we learned all about Lester and we had the flashbacks. The next episode though looks like it's going to have some of the creativity that we love, with the episode potentially being through the perspective of Lester the robot. So I'm excited to see how that's going to unfold. For now though, a week to wait until we're one step closer to finding out who's responsible for the 2 different murders. So, there you have it. Only Murders in the Building Season 5, Episode 8, Ending Explained. If you want to see more episodes of Only Murders in the Building Season 5 being broken down, then check the playlist below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. What did you think of this episode? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video, and I'll see you in the next one.